If you've been spending hundreds or even thousands of dollars annually on products to improve your skin, hair, mood, energy, or cognitive functioning, you're going to want to watch this video, because one of the most effective things you can do for your physical and mental health costs pennies on the dollar in comparison. It doesn't necessarily have to replace what you're using, but it may drastically improve the effectiveness of these products and save you money by reducing your need for using as much of them. If you never imagined that a single food could profoundly affect conditions from anxiety to arthritis to eczema, stand by as I'll explain how the nutrients within this food have powerful effects in soothing and modulating the brain chemistry that underlies stress, while also supporting healthy physiological functioning. This food contains compounds that have a strong basis in scientific evidence as being able to improve the quality and youthful appearance of skin, although, in my experience, bathing in it doesn't seem to help that much. But I do get a lot more attention from dogs now, so that's good. It can also improve the function and the mobility of your joints, help optimize how your genes express themselves, slow down the aging process, and may help protect against mood and psychiatric disorders. It's basically a soul food that stands in stark contrast to the artificial ways many people try to construct happiness these days on diets of social media, cosmetics, prescription medications, and various addictive substances. This may sound too good to be true, but if you understand the role of nutrients like glycine and glycosaminoglycans in health, it's actually not hard to see why this food is so valuable. It's also pretty crazy that this food is so cheap and easy to make at home. In fact, it's probably one of the cheapest home-cooked meals and arguably one of the healthiest foods known to man, which various cultures have used for generations. That food, of course, is the humble dish known as bone broth. In fact, based on my back-of-the-napkin calculations, even here in Hawaii, where food costs are sometimes double that of the US mainland, homemade bone broth costs around $1 for a bowlful, and that becomes even more of a meal if you add something like rice or potatoes or some other satisfying starch. If you search bone broth videos online, most focus on how slow-cooked bones, skin, and connective tissue release collagen and gelatin into the broth. But I want to dig a little deeper on this, especially into how glycine, a key amino acid, may impact mental health and inflammation. Collagen supplements seem to be everywhere these days. A good brand might cost about $1 for a 20-gram serving. And while they're beneficial, they aren't really a complete food. Interestingly, research on food extracts like resveratrol from grapes or sulforaphane from broccoli shows that whole foods tend to work better, likely because of nutrient synergy. Bone broth may work the same way, offering not just collagen, but other compounds like chondroitin, hyaluronic acid, and glucosamine, critical for joints, ligaments, tendons, and cartilage. Collagen powders typically lack these. So let's quickly compare bone broth versus collagen supplements. Bone broth provides calcium, magnesium, potassium, and trace minerals, key for bones, nerves, and cellular health. Collagen powders don't. Bone broth also supplies gelatin, which helps heal the gut lining, supports digestion, and reduces inflammation. Collagen supplements also skip this benefit. Bone broth offers more than just glycine and proline. It includes glutamine, which helps support gut health, and arginine, which benefits circulation and immunity. Collagen is limited to collagen-specific amino acids. So healing your gut may also help calm systemic inflammation linked to autoimmune conditions like Hashimoto's, arthritis, and even brain-related issues like anxiety and depression. That's because the gut lining and the blood-brain barrier are similar in structure. When one is compromised, the other often follows suit. Bone broth offers types 1, 2, and 3 collagen for skin, cartilage, and tendons, whereas most supplements focus on type 1 only. A quick tip on the store-bought bone broth: check the protein content. If it's less than 5 grams per cup, it likely means it wasn't simmered long enough. It's basically just meat-flavored water. High protein options may have 10 grams or more of protein per serving, but tend to be pricey, so homemade is usually the most cost-effective. So why does glycine even matter? Glycine plays a supportive role in the methylation process, which regulates how your genes express themselves. You can also think of your genes as a bit like the keys on a piano. There are a finite number of keys, but an almost infinite variation in music and sound that can be produced from them. But this depends on the skill of the pianist and if all the keys are functioning normally. Methylation is a bit like the pianist. From the same piano can come either a horrendous noise or beautiful music. Having the correct balance of nutrients from food helps ensure that your genes are played in the best way possible. And this refers to both mental and physical health. Without the right balance of nutrients like zinc, magnesium, B vitamins, and glycine, methylation can malfunction, raising inflammation and accelerating aging. Most people eat a lot of methionine from the muscle meat of an animal, but little glycine from the skin, bones, and connective tissue. This imbalance stresses the body's detox and repair systems, and bone broth can help restore that balance. As to the mental health benefits, glycine is not only an amino acid, but it also functions in the capacity of a neurotransmitter, a chemical messenger in the brain that modulates signals between neurons. There are approximately 100 different types of neurotransmitters in the brain with very complex functions. But they could be simplistically divided into two groups: excitatory, meaning that they stimulate brain cells to fire, and inhibitory, which tends to reduce neuronal firing. Neither are good or bad, they just have different functions in the brain. Glutamate, for example, is the excitatory neurotransmitter that is implicated in conditions like anxiety, autism, schizophrenia, and seizure disorder, usually because it is present in very high amounts. It also tends to be higher on high carbohydrate diets, especially if those carbs are simple carbs or sugars, and this may help explain post-sugar rush mood swings. Another example of this can be seen in the use of the ketogenic diet to treat refractory epilepsy, because it can powerfully reduce glutamate in the brain. Glutamate is not bad, however. It is also essential to learning and memory. Glycine is inhibitory, and raising glycine levels can inhibit anxiety, modulate seizures by balancing out glutamate levels, and improve sleep by calming racing thoughts at night. There is no clear data on this, but estimates are that almost everyone in industrialized nations is somewhat deficient in glycine status, because so many people eat the methionine-rich muscle meat such as steak or chicken breast, but little of the skin or broths that are derived from the skin, bones, and connective tissues. So, the simple inclusion of this simple food can help rebalance your brain chemistry, soothe your moods, improve cognitive functioning, and make you look better too. In summary, collagen supplements are great for skin and joints, but bone broth offers more: minerals, gelatin, gut support, and a broader nutrient profile. It's a simple, natural food that supports digestion, immunity, brain health, and inflammation balance. If you try adding bone broth to your routine, let me know in the comments if you notice any benefits after a few weeks.